Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll plans to plead guilty in his criminal case, according to the special prosecutor, and that case took a dramatic turn today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shay McAllister.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. It's been a developing story today. The net of arrests suddenly widened in the case, with a Clarksville police officer now being charged. Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie were there when John Miller arrived. And Isaiah, what can you tell us about who they are still looking for?
Well, guys, John Miller is very well known in this area. He's a Clarksville police officer as well as a Clark County councilman. We do know at this time, reportedly, he turned himself in to Indiana State Police at their post over in Sellersburg. There is a train coming through, so I might repeat a few things. That information is according to ISP Captain Ron Galaviz, who I spoke to over the phone just in the last couple hours. Now, this video you're about to see, we got this just after 2 in the afternoon. Our crew was right outside the Clark County Jail as ISP troopers drove Miller in. You can see him in the passenger seat there wearing a blue suit jacket in ISP custody and eventually escorted into the jail. But we also want to note, we have since found out that he has actually been transferred over to Washington County, Indiana jail. He's there at this hour. We also want to note, we're told police are still searching for Brittany Faree, the former Clark County councilwoman. There is a warrant out for her arrest as well. And to this point, you guys don't have any knowledge of where Brittany Faree could be at this point?
Right, yeah, we're not exactly sure where she could possibly be at this point.
But she was not at her place of residence when you guys pulled up?
It doesn't appear that she was, no.
Now, both Faree and Miller have been charged with 1 count of official misconduct, a low-level felony. Miller specifically is being accused of funding New Chapel EMS as a councilman without revealing a conflict of interest. And here's an interesting part here. Investigators say that Jamie Knoll funded airfare, he funded meals and concert tickets, according to court documents, for Miller. We actually read some of the court documents that detailed conversations that Miller had with investigators. He called Jamie Knoll a close friend. Again, he is currently being held without bond over in Washington County, Indiana. He has a initial hearing set for Monday. Shay, Doug.
All right, Isaiah, thank you very much for that live update there. Again, we'll have more coming up on this developing story. Also new today, Briana Taylor's family telling us the prosecutor working the federal case against the LMPD officers accused of falsifying the warrant that led to her death now plan to appeal a judge's recent decision.
Just yesterday, a judge dismissed the most severe charges against the officers. Tamika Palmer, Briana Taylor's mother, shared this statement with us today. The only thing we can do at this point is continue to be patient. The appeal will extend the life of the case, but as we've always maintained, we will continue to fight until we get full justice for Briana Taylor. Taylor was shot and killed during a police raid at her apartment in 2020. Multiple officers have been charged in connection to her death. This week, a judge ruled that warrant was not the cause of her death and dismissed the most serious charge filed against former officers Joshua Janes and Kyle Meany. If convicted, the officers could have been facing life in prison. The charges they are still facing hold penalties of up to 12 months in prison. Social justice activist Sadiqa Reynolds called the news disappointing but not surprising.
How does America, how does our country, how do we expect to hold these officers accountable if we can't hold them accountable here? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And there are a lot of everyday people saying the same thing. Make it make sense.
Meanwhile, Joshua Janes' attorney Thomas Clay says he understands the frustration, but says the facts of this case have been misrepresented. He calls this the right decision by the judge.
I understand the sentiment in the community that's based on what I consider to be false information. And once we have the opportunity to present our evidence in open court, I'm hoping some of those thoughts will change.
LMPD responded to the change in charges today. They said this: "We're mindful this is an open case in front of the courts. We respect the judicial process and accept the ultimate outcome in this matter."
4 years later, this is still an ongoing case. Remember, 2 other people are charged in the death of Briana Taylor on March 13, 2020. Fired LMPD Detective Brett Hankerson is charged with depriving both Briana Taylor and her neighbors of their civil rights. as well as using excessive force for firing shots into their apartments during the night of the raid. His trial last November ended in a mistrial. Federal prosecutors say they do intend to retry that case. And former LMPD Detective Kelly Goodlett has also pleaded guilty to a federal conspiracy charge for allegedly working with Joshua Janes to mislead federal investigators. She faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison, along with a $250,000 fine. And right now, new happening today, a Metro police officer has been arrested and charged with alleged theft. He's also one of the 3 Metro police officers who failed to turn on their body camera during the arrest of pro golfer Scotty Scheffler during the PGA Championship in Louisville. Now, the theft allegedly occurred during an arrest earlier this month. Metro police officer Javar Downs is accused of taking thousands of dollars from a person that he was arresting. According to his arrest citation, which we obtained, officers saw footage that appears to show Downs taking $4,000. Downs was placed on emergency suspension, and the chief, Paul Humphrey, has started the firing process.
Right now, Charlestown police are investigating an in-home massage parlor, accusing the owners of using a hidden camera and working without a license. Police arrested Bernard Allen Blouch and his wife Cynthia this week at their home on High Street. Officers began the investigation in late January when a woman reported finding a camera set up in the massage room. Police said they discovered videos and images of people receiving massages, many of whom were naked. They said the videos also showed Cynthia engaging in sexual activity with clients. Both are facing 2 felony counts of voyeurism. Cynthia is also charged with prostitution and engaging in massage therapy without a license. The Charlestown Police Department took to Facebook to say this: "We want to emphasize that this investigation sought to provide justice for the individuals who went to that residence to receive a legitimate massage and were recorded without their knowledge and consent in their most vulnerable state. Those victims did not do anything to deserve such an invasion into their privacy." A man accused of shooting and killing a teenager in Park Hill went in front of a judge today. Police arrested 20-year-old Damari Wells Medlock and charged him with murder and assault in connection to the death of 16-year-old Sam Kamara. Police say Kamara and another victim were shot on June 8th at Dixie Highway and West Hill Street. The judge set his bond at $500,000. His next hearing is set for September.
The heat is back on, folks, and it's going to last a little bit longer. In fact, we're talking maybe another week of this. Take a look at that sky here live at 5 o'clock. It looks like a hot, humid southern skies return to Kentuckiana. Not those clear skies of that low humidity.
Yeah, we got so spoiled this week, Ben, and now it's back to reality.
Yeah, you got it. We are back to summertime weather. Official high today, 90 degrees, guys, and the humidity a little bit higher as well. So right now it's still near 90 degrees, and when you factor in a little bit more humidity, it feels like 90. So a little bit on the hot side here for our HS Game Time Friday night high school football kickoff for this evening. Temperatures mostly in the 80s here, though. That we do have a couple thermometers there. Linden 90 and downtown at 90 degrees, but again mostly in the 80s. You get outside the city, 84 in Corydon, Bardstown 87 degrees, and Shelbyville at 84. There's that area of high pressure keeping it clear and dry, and now it's off to our southeast, so we're getting that flow from it from the south breeze, sunshine. It's going to build our heat day by day. So this evening we'll be in the 80s. A little bit after sunset we'll start to fall into the 70s, overnight lows in the 60s, a little bit hotter tomorrow even with upper 80s and lower 90s. So for our forecast here for our HS Game Time Game of the Week, Manual at Central, 84 for the kickoff, 80 at halftime, and then clear and mild after halftime, after sunset, starting to fall into the upper 70s. So that low tonight, 68 degrees. At noon tomorrow, nice and warm, not too bad out there, but during that maximum heating during the afternoon, up to 92 degrees, and it's going to get a lot hotter coming up in that 7-day forecast.
Thank you very much, Ben. And now more news here tonight at 5 o'clock. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved a new COVID-19 vaccine that specifically targets the KP.2 strain. That's a subvariant of the Omicron variant that we're all aware of. Now, the approved vaccines are made by Pfizer and Moderna, and they're going to be available for anybody older than 6 months old. These new vaccines come right before a time of year where respiratory illnesses rise on a regular basis. U of L Health says the timing of these new vaccines is good because it does coincide with flu vaccine distribution, so that if you want to, you can get both of these shots at the very same time.
you can get it, you can get both vaccines, both the influenza and the COVID vaccine at the same time. It's been shown to be safe and effective.
U of L Health urges vaccinations for the elderly, pregnant, and those with chronic health conditions. Vaccine manufacturers say the new shots should be available within the next week.
Amid a statewide shortage of EMTs, the Anchorage Middletown Fire and EMS is now starting an accelerated training program just for paramedics.
And WHAS11's Ian Hardwitt reports on the shortfall after talking with one firefighter about taking his career to the next level.
Noah Gunn has his EMT certification just like the other firefighters at Anchorage Middletown Fire and EMS.
Like, you save someone from a burning building. I think it's awesome to bring them out, set them on the ambulance, and you know exactly what to do, what they're dealing with.
He's one of 12 turning up their career of care at the department, now studying to be a paramedic.
Just being able to take full responsibility of the patient, provide the best care I can, and I think EMS is just going to keep on expanding in the fire service because our fire prevention teams, they're awesome, and we're seeing less fires, and I think we're going to see more EMS calls.
However, the emergency medical profession in Kentucky is on life support.
I say shortage, we use that term a lot. It truly is a crisis. I mean, we have services that are going to shut down if we can't find a solution.
Last month, the Kentucky board chairman of EMS, John Holder, told lawmakers wages are the #1 reason people leave the job. He says Kentucky loses 1 in 5 EMTs every year. Holder explained it's difficult for EMS to make money because Medicaid and Medicare only pay out when patients are taken to the hospital. In Louisville, a recent union contract with the city brought starting pay for EMTs up to $21.64 an hour. That's an increase of about $3. Paramedics also saw their starting pay increase to $27.12 an hour. Now they're in higher demand because most emergency runs in the state of Kentucky require that advanced certification. At the completion of the course, the Anchorage Middletown Department will have almost 1 in every 3 firefighters prepared to make those runs.
If you ask a lot of old paramedics and stuff like that, they didn't get paid for this. They had to go on their own time for clinicals, ride time, all that. We are getting paid for this.
Across the state, the EMS board reported the cost of training as the #1 barrier for EMTs like Gunn making the jump to paramedicine. In Louisville, Ian Hardwitt, WHAS 11, on your side.
Now, paramedic licensing usually takes about 2 years, but the program at Anchorage and Middletown is on an accelerated track. They expect to be graduating next July.